so I got this little Daredevil shot set up here. Very simple shot. I got Daredevil on a piece of glass. Kind of see my finger hitting the glass right here. Just a little 11 by 17 poster in the back. Just as some buildings and the moon. I kind of have to set my camera on a timer and tilt this forward a little bit to get the right angle. Just so everything lines up and the buildings appear straight in the shot. But other than that, it's pretty simple. I did have to clean this giant slab of glass, make sure no like particles or anything were on top of it. I was just kind of looking through a bunch of Daredevil shots and found a cool pose that I could put him in. Obviously wanted to utilize his little nunchucks here, or billy clubs or whatever he calls them. But yeah, this new Daredevil man is really sick. I just got my set in today and I was just kind of eager to post something or shoot something with him and pose him around. I think he's just a fantastic figure, pinless, great articulation, and some cool accessories, extra hands. And this hand I'm using right here is, I believe, from US Agent. So they didn't give us all the hands that we needed to get all the cool poses, but I'm glad that there's some alternatives out there and some other figures' hands that fit him very well. So that kind of worked out. The 3-pack he came in is really cool. I do like the bullseye, and I really love the Elektra that came with the set. I almost wish they would re-release the red Elektra with maybe the double jointed arms and the other head sculpt. I think that would be really cool. But yeah, very simple shot. Definitely want to shoot more with this Daredevil. I'm shooting super low here, and I'm shooting upwards towards the glass. And I know sometimes when I shoot stuff with glass, people ask, well, why are you shooting him on a piece of glass? I don't get it. Basically what the glass does is it gives him the appearance that he's floating through the air, so that you don't have to use any stands or try to hide any of the stands or anything like that. If you're use Photoshop or Lightroom or whatever, I know a lot of people will edit out the stands. That way they don't appear in their shots. But when you use a piece of glass like this, you actually don't have to do any of that. So it's completely tangible, which is, a core principle of ACBA, which I try to stay with for all my shots. So I don't ever use Photoshop or editing or anything. It's all done in camera, and I think you'll learn a lot more when you practice it that way. I'm not putting down anyone that uses Photoshop. I know that's a skill in itself, so kudos to you if you do that. It's just not something that I'm personally interested in doing. Maybe like super far down the line I'll do something like that and maybe learn some Photoshop stuff, but if I ever used it, it would be like very, very minimally on my shots. So yeah, I'm a ACBA purist, you might say. But anyways, yeah, that's what the glass does. Just makes him appear like he's in thin air. There's probably just as much work going into shooting on glass as there is using Photoshop. You have to clean the glass, you have to set it at the right angle, you have to figure out your background, all that stuff. But overall, really liking this Daredevil. This is just my first initial shot of him. Definitely going to be getting down with some more shots with him in it, and some of the other characters, Elektra and Bullseye, that came in that set. So yeah, let's check this out. Alright, so I got a little Punisher set up here. I didn't really plan on shooting anything, but I had this jail cell still out, so I was like, throwing around some ideas, and then I pulled out a couple of dios and just kind of threw something together. I figure if anybody has a like homemade jail cell built into their apartment or warehouse or wherever the Punisher is, it would be the Punisher. So kind of just rolling with that, just while I still have this little jail cell available. I figured might as well just shoot a little something. Then the idea just kind of evolved from that. Have it in the corner of this little dio. Then I've got a couple other pieces that I stuck on the wall here to get like a nice little corner shot. Of course, we put Jigsaw in the jail cell. I don't think I've shot this Jigsaw figure yet, so that was kind of fun. Just kind of had him posed right up against the bars, and then I was trying to like figure out a good pose for the Punisher, and I was like, it just makes sense that he'd be pointing a gun at him even though he's in a jail cell. So that's kind of what I went with, and I just had a little bit of fun to throw in some of these little crates and ammo boxes and everything out, and then I just pulled out pretty much like a good majority of the guns I have and just kind of stacked them up, kind of like, you know, Frank's doing a little shopping or something like that. So it's kind of fun how all these guns are posed up. It's probably like 30 guns posed around the Punisher and everything, and I just thought it was a fun little scene. There's just like kind of a couple little Easter eggs and everything in here. I was working with a little bit of a colored light that is right here, and that's illuminating this little window back here. And you just kind of stick it right there, and boom, gets a little bit of side lighting, gets a little bit of the blue in there. Just change it up a little bit. Maybe kind of, he's got like a neon sign outside of his window, or whatever, you know. It's just nice little ambience to the shot. And I was kind of workshopping a Punisher pose, and got his hand on the little knife right there, got him pointing the gun at the Jigsaw, and he's actually not really pointing the gun directly at Jigsaw. It's actually more to Jigsaw's left. It just in the frame actually appears like he's pointing the gun at him. The reason for that is I wanted to get as much of the front of the Punisher in the shot as I could. Obviously there's not really that much in the shot, but just enough to see the skull on the front and see the side of Frank's face and everything, and just a fun little shot. Like I said, I didn't plan on really shooting anything. This was more just like me just kind of messing around and building a little scene out of nothing, and I just had a lot of fun throwing it together. It's just a fun little shot. It's always good practice, of course, to just kind of do stuff like this, and it's nothing really too crazy. The posing's very minor. The accessories are pretty straightforward as to how they're posed and placed in the setup. But I think overall, you know, you take into account all the little pieces thrown in there, it's a pretty cool little shot. So let's check it out. Alright, I'm working on a little panel shot here with this new Retro Beast, which is an amazing figure. I think everybody already knew it was an amazing figure. I mean, it is basically just a re-release of the older figure, just with a brighter blue and a shit ton of cool accessories. Lab coat, glasses, the little chemistry beakers, lots of really cool stuff. So excellent figure. I've been wanting to shoot this. It is kind of hard to shoot with this coat on. The coat looks great when he's just in a vanilla pose, but when you try posing him around and everything, the coat is a little hard to like maneuver and everything. But it works. It just takes a little bit of time. I'm not like super keen on the whole soft goods and manipulating them to make it look like real and everything like that. So still something I'm kind of sorting out. That's probably why I don't shoot my Mezco 1/12 figures all too often, is because the soft goods, I sometimes have a little bit of trouble posing the figures around and making those outfits look as real as I can. But anyways, this idea is just pretty straightforward. I've got this little the game's called Crocodile Dentist, I believe. I think I had this game as a kid, or maybe one of my nieces had it as a kid. But basically you push down the teeth here, and it snaps if you push down the wrong tooth. And it just so happened that I pushed down the very first one I pushed was the wrong one. It's actually a real working mini version of the actual game, which is hilarious. But I just thought it would be really funny if I shot a panel of Beast, basically, this is the first panel, Beast looking at the game, and then Beast actually pressing down some of the teeth, and then one of the teeth snapping on the Beast, and then I'll use his alternate angry head, like with his arms flailing in the air with the actual toy snapped onto his hand. So I'm thinking it's going to be pretty funny. It's just going to be 4 panels, nothing crazy. But yeah, I went with kind of a very vibrant setup here. I got the orange background, just a very minimal cutouts just to give a little bit of depth to the setup and to kind of eliminate some of that negative space. These are just very straightforward cutouts. Just like some lab kind of cutout or something. Same thing on the one on the right. But yeah, let's this panel shots are kind of weird because, you know, you have to put a lot of effort into each shot, which I don't mind doing. I just always kind of dread it because it's essentially taking 4 shots as opposed to your 1 shot, so it's a lot more work. But I think this setup is so minimal that I think it should pan out and end up being pretty cool. Just got to really focus on the posing here. That's the key for this shot. So yeah, we're gonna move on. I don't know if I'm gonna show you all the panels. I might just kind of go straight to the last panel and then I'll just show you guys the completed picture, but I think it's gonna be pretty cool. Alright, so I didn't skip to the very last panel just yet. I did want to show you guys this part. So this is the 3rd panel. So we just saw the first panel. The second panel is him just actually putting his finger in the mouth of the alligator, or crocodile, sorry, and pushing down one of the buttons. And then this is the 3rd panel with the crocodile actually snapping. And then I got this cool little snap cutout right here. I think I actually pulled that cutout specifically for this. And I think it works out really well here. I was just kind of sitting here cracking myself up looking at the progression of these pictures, and I think this last picture is going to be really funny. But I did want to show you guys this real quick. So let's move on to the next panel, or the last panel. Alright, here we got the last panel, and I think once all these panels are combined, it's going to tell kind of a funny story. And I just think it's gonna be really, really funny. I was cracking myself up doing these shots, so I think it's gonna be pretty cool. But yeah, as you can see, I switched up his hand, so he's got the more flatter hand, the one that's just like kind of flat, and stuck that in his mouth. I wanted to make sure I got the eyes of the crocodile game there in focus and that you could clearly see them. So in case anybody didn't exactly know what they were looking at throughout the first 3 panels, they can clearly see that this is that old crocodile dentist game. And then of course we did the head swap with the beast. I love playing to a character's attributes, especially the extra accessories that it comes with. And of course everybody knows this head. This was the initial head we got with the first beast from the, what was it, the Warlock wave, the Marvel Legends Warlock Build-A-Figure wave? I believe that was it. And so they actually repainted it, and it's that brighter blue like I mentioned, and it's got the blue hair, and then they did some more details on the mouth area. And I think it just really pops in a setup like this. My saturation's bumped up a little bit. So I think playing with those accessories, and it just kind of plays to the strength of the figure. It tells the whole story, and I think overall it's going to be pretty dope. So very happy with how this all turned out. Now from the first panel I shot to this very last panel, it's taken me about 2-3 hours. Not because they're necessarily hard to shoot any of these pictures, but the main thing that I wanted to focus on is that the separation between the panels, if I had the beast in a similar spot that he needs, if he needed to be in a similar spot the next panel, I really wanted to make sure that I got that down and I didn't have him moving too much. For instance, the second panel is him pushing down the teeth, and the third panel is the crocodile dentist game actually snapping. I wanted to make sure that the beast was in the exact same position for both of those panels, even though I did have to pick him up in between those panels and pose him and put his hand in the crocodile dentist game. So I just wanted to make sure that I had those details covered before I moved on to the next panel, and I think I did a pretty good job there. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but overall very fun shot. I really enjoyed doing this. This has been a shot that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and I finally scratched that one off the list. And in case anybody's wondering, this little miniature game right here came in one of those blind bags. I don't know if you guys have ever been in Target and seen the little balls. They have like a bunch of miniature like items in them, and one of the brands is toys. They have miniature brands of the toys. They make like Rubik's cubes and little operation games, little Monopoly games, and for the most part they're all trash and none of them really work with 6-inch scale figures, but there are a few exceptions to that, and this is one of them, the crocodile dentist game. So very cool. Let's check this out.